Get to a lot of cities from KCI, but the planes don't go everywhere. A viewer asked us how the airport chooses their destinations, and Joe Chiodo gets answers in this week's Good Question.
Well, first things first, it's not up to the airport at all. It's the airlines who get to choose where exactly they fly. And while it does come down to supply and demand, there is more to it than just that.
How come there are no direct flights from Kansas City to Wichita?
This is Kristen Pateris. Her Good Question has brought us to KCI. She wishes she could just hop on a cheap flight to Wichita to visit her friends.
You know, one way, $59.
She dreads that drive through Kansas.
When I lived in Phoenix, you can get to Vegas in 50 minutes.
It's not just Wichita. Omaha, Des Moines, Tulsa, and Oklahoma City all lack direct flights from KCI, but they used to have them. The last direct flight from KCI to Wichita took off about 20 years ago. So I went to the airport's deputy director of aviation, Justin Meyer.
Why no flight to Wichita?
We don't get to decide where the destinations are, who flies to where, or how much the ticket costs, or how many times a day the flight operates. And if a route looks like to be something that will be profitable for them, they'll fly it. And if it's not, then they'll walk away from it pretty quickly.
Over the past 15 years, airlines stopped making smaller 50-seat jets. They've shifted toward larger planes. With that move, most direct flights under 500 miles no longer exist. For the airlines, it's not worth the cost because most people would choose to drive. The shortest flight from KC today is St. Louis. The reason that one works, it's a connection.
There's very few actual local passengers on that flight, which means starting in Kansas City, ending in St. Louis. A lot of passengers are making connections to the East Coast or coming through Kansas City, making connections in the other directions.
Meyer says the new terminal will bring in more flights, but likely none to Wichita or any other short-range routes. Instead, he says we could see direct routes to Cleveland, Columbus, Pittsburgh, San Jose, Orange County, and Sacramento. Those cities are all showing big demand. Joe Chiodo, KCTV5 News.
And if you have something that you'd like Joe to answer, email him at goodquestion@kctv5.com.